gente, it's Bree. You're watching a new episode of Tea with Bree with my busy introverting mug. I love this mug. Welcome back to my channel, Life on Airplane Mode. For today's episode, I decided to make a short video about sort of like flight attendant pet peeves almost, slash just like passenger advice. These are some, like a list of things that I didn't even do as a passenger before becoming a flight attendant, and now that I am a flight attendant, I would not do them still or even more. So I've compiled a quick list of 5 things that I really personally don't like seeing, or I don't do it either when I'm on a flight. And so now that I'm a flight attendant, I can say this from the other side, the other perspective. So the first thing I want to bring up is wearing your seatbelt. It really bothers me, the amount of people who have their seatbelt off and they're sitting in a position where you could easily just be wearing your seatbelt a little bit looser and you probably wouldn't even know it's there. The seats are not that big, so there's only so many positions you can kind of contort yourself into when you're on a flight to begin with. It's not really like the seatbelt's preventing you from starfishing and laying comfortably. It's like you can't do that anyway. So it kind of bothers me when I see that as a flight attendant. And as a passenger, I always wore my seatbelt at all times when I was seated. However, you know, that's not always possible, and I don't think it's really a big deal to take it off and get up and whatever, but to just not wear it at all throughout the entire flight is crazy. And some people are so stubborn that there's people that don't even want to put it on, like during taxi and takeoff and times where we're still moving. If you think about the fact that we're supposed to be wearing a seatbelt in a car, the maximum you're ever really driving is maybe like 160 kilometers an hour if you're driving with a maniac. When you're going even slower speeds, we're still required to wear a seatbelt. It just makes sense because if you hit something, you don't want to go flying. Somehow on a plane, people are like looking at you like, ugh, like why do I have to put this on? Or like you've got your bag in your lap and you think that like hugging it is gonna, you know, save it. It's not. Also, if you ever watch the news, there's been a lot of incidents over the years of unexpected turbulence where you hit an air pocket and everything just goes like flying really fast to the ceiling. That is probably one of my biggest fears, even now as a flight attendant, now that I know that that's possible, because as a passenger I had never heard of this before. So no, it doesn't happen often. It's something that's it's rare enough. Just put the seatbelt on. Like, wear the belt. I don't understand. Anyway, number 2, using the lavatory with no shoes and no socks. Sometimes people go to the bathroom on a plane with no shoes and no socks. Ugh. I find that gross. I really do. I find that really gross, because it's an airplane bathroom. You know, I don't even want to touch anything in there. I don't even want the bottom of my shoes going in there. I'm like, you don't know what is on that floor. You don't know what kind of germs are just stuck on the ground and all that grime. I don't know. Anyway, the next 2 items kind of go together, so 3 and 4. 3 is passengers who don't bring an empty water bottle on the flight. Speaking as somebody who doesn't drink a lot of water to begin with, I don't drink nearly what I'm supposed to drink in water. I still always have an empty bottle, but you know, as a passenger, I didn't really worry about it too much because I also just didn't want a lot of water. But sometimes you have people who that little tiny cup is definitely not going to be enough for them, especially on like an 8-hour flight. So if you're not going to purchase a water bottle in the airport for the length of the flight, that's fine. But at least bring an empty one, reusable one from home, or a plastic one that you've just emptied the water out of, something that we can give you where you can fill it up and just keep it at your seat. So every single time you're thirsty, you have water right there. And when it's empty, you can ask us to fill it up again, and we will gladly do that. I mean, already, first of all, it's not good for the environment to be using a billion of those little plastic cups. Yeah, it doesn't get recycled. So if you think that using like 6 of those little cups is fine because they're recyclable, that's not true. And this one is another one that I understand some people don't know this, but not bringing food, especially for your children. Not bringing food is number 4. Not bringing any snacks with you on a flight. that's going to be number 4. And the little footnote is, especially if you're a parent, okay? I don't have kids, but even at that, I can't imagine being a parent and not packing snacks for your kid to eat while you're traveling. I can't picture that. So having this discussion with other coworkers, I think that some of that boils down to people are a little bit afraid of what they can and cannot bring on a flight. It's very, very simple. If you're going to eat the snacks on the plane, you can pretty much bring anything that's solid. And I mean, obviously people kind of will look it up if they have an infant, and they're not, they need formula or whatever, they'll check that. Asking us for milk for your baby is not a big deal either. But coming on a plane and expecting me to have extra supplies of snacks for your 2-year-old or your 3-year-old, or you've got a kid that's stubborn and just doesn't eat what we have on board. I've had a couple of parents who have picky eaters in their family who kind of give me a look, like, why don't I have anything else to offer? And I'm just like, do I look like I cater the plane? And do I also look like I know what exactly your child can or cannot eat, or does or doesn't like? Whatever the case may be, I still think bringing snacks for your child is really, really important. And if you're not going to bring them, at least buy them in the airport. Like, at least get them a little something before getting on the flight. There's plenty of things to buy in most airports. There's a lot of people that won't spend the money within the terminal because they don't want to buy anything, but they expect to get on board. It's like, oh, whatever, there's food on the plane. Yeah, but we don't serve it exactly when you want it. We serve it when it's ready. So you might get on the flight starving, and we might, I don't know, have slow heating ovens, and the food might not warm up quick enough for you. It just puts everybody in a better mood if you show up prepared. And so, last but not least, number 5 is coming to get something from the flight attendants or ringing the call button immediately after a service just ended. It's something that I know that's something I didn't know about as a passenger, but I never touched my call button. As a passenger, okay, before becoming a flight attendant, I was afraid to hit that button. I hit it once by mistake when I was about 15. Didn't know what it was. I was looking for the light switch and I poked that button like, what is that? And then a flight attendant showed up. So what a lot of people don't seem to realize is that flight attendants, when they're not in the aisles, that's when they get their breaks. And obviously it's not to say that, oh, if we're not out serving something, like, you can never ever come disturb us at all. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if we just pass by your chair offering you drinks and, coffee and tea and snacks or anything that we just came by, and then we also pass by again to pick up all the garbage, then within the next, I'd say like 15 minutes after that, when everybody starts ringing the bell or like walking to the galleys to come get something, it's just frustrating in that little time, because chances are, okay, we've gone hours without getting our own meals, Let's say a flight leaves at 9 o'clock at night. We're already talking like 4 hours after I had supper. So even if I eat a little bit of a snack, like, I'm starting my shift 4 hours after dinner. We immediately start services, and most airlines are the same. You get in flight and the first thing you do, you start setting up your bars. You start setting up, even if it's a domestic flight, it doesn't matter. You usually start setting up for a service right away as soon as you can. So like 30 minutes, let's say you're in the aisles. So there's like services running, we're heating your meals, we're, like prepping the bars, everything. When we're done all of that, all right, it's usually 2 hours later. That's our first time to sit down and take a minute and take a break. And you might be like, well, you've only been working for 2 hours. That's not a big deal. 2 hours plus the show time to get to the gate. Your duty period starts before the plane leaves, obviously, because who's going to do your security checks? So then you've got to count that in. You've got to count the time it takes to get to the gate, to get to the airport, get to the parking lot, whatever. Like I said, it's been like 5 hours at this point now, 6 hours probably since your dinner. So you are super hungry. And given that that's the first time that you're getting to sit down and take a break, you're probably not going to want to be interrupted by somebody who slept through the drink service and just wants to come ask you for a coffee, and now instead of eating, you get up to make that person's individual personalized coffee, and then someone else will come back and be like, oh, like, here's all my garbage because I wasn't paying attention when you came by the first time. Like, most flights is not too bad, but every now and then you get a flight where, like, everybody seems to be kind of off the mark and you don't really get to sit down. Just a little bit of a consideration. I think that's it for today. Just wanted to list a couple of things that I find either frustrating or disgusting or, you know, just strange. And hopefully you don't do these things. Or hopefully you think about it from a different perspective, at least. And you can keep doing it if you want to. I will just keep thinking those same thoughts in my mind. Thank you for watching, and safe travels. Have a great day. This has been another episode of Tea with Bree. And gotta get back to introverting right now. Take care. Have a good day.